There's a chapter in the Gospel of Matthew that has to be the least studied chapter in the New Testament. It's Matthew chapter 1. Be honest, if you've ever wanted to read through the New Testament, you were tempted to skip Matthew chapter 1. It's a list of names. And who among us has not read that list of names and number one, found them very difficult to pronounce? And then number two, found it very difficult to understand what relevance this chapter has in our lives. Yet Matthew, inspired by the Holy Spirit, felt it right to inaugurate the teaching of the Advent with a reminder of the ancestry of Jesus. And I believe upon careful study, we walk away with a reminder that this genealogy is really some helpful theology and reminds us that though the world might seem to be falling apart, look how God kept His promise over all of these generations. And through these three sets of 14 names, the Spirit reveals to us how God has been faithful all these generations. And Jacob begot Joseph, the husband of Mary, whom was born Jesus, who is called the Christ. At the end of it all, through it all, in spite of it all, Christ came. Through the fog of judgment, Christ came. And though the people forgot God, Christ came. And in and out of the chaos, Christ came. And folks, you need to know Christ will come. And I do not know how many more generations must be added to this genealogy before Christ comes. But the first coming is proof and picture of the second coming. God promised Abraham a universally blessed seed, and God was faithful. And the fulfillment of a promise that was given to Abraham so many centuries before came true that night in Bethlehem when Jesus was born. Sometimes it seems like our world is falling apart. Really is not. And for proof, we look at the arrival of Christ. And this gives us courage and faith to look to the future. Set your hearts toward that day. Let that be the big moment in your future. Let Christmas remind you that God still comes to dark places and dark times, and He keeps every promise He has ever made. And the Advent in the first Bethlehem is just a picture of the grand Advent of the King who comes in glory.